Hello everyone, hope you're all well and welcome to another episode of Beth the Chef. So this is a Eurovision special. Eurovision is this Saturday and it's a pastry episode and we're going to do a cake that is based in Switzerland, part of the Swiss cuisine. In Germany, they eat it as well. It's more of a cake that they like to have with their coffee. It's called Tiroler Cake. I'll put it up so you can see the spelling. And what it is like fudgy, almost like a pound cake, except a fraction of the flour that's used in a pound cake you replace with ground nuts. So we're going to pair this with hazelnuts. We're going to caramalize hazelnuts, attempt to do some lovely skewers, and a jam made from fresh figs, because figs are quite underrated at the moment, quite rare, as I figured trying to get them fruit, and they actually paired lovely with chocolate. So yeah, I'm trying to spread a little bit of my Eurovision knowledge if you fancy it as well. And we've got a fair bit to crack on with, so yeah, without further ado, let's cook. Right, so I've gathered everything up for our cake, and traditionally this is like a loaf tin, cooked in a loaf tin, but I'm gonna switch up a little bit and do almost individual puddings really in my dome molds, which I'll show you later. Well, just because I think it looks nicer, looks a bit more posh, let's say. But for the cake, need 125 grams of butter, unsalted butter, 125 grams of sugar for a bit more of a taste. I'm using light soft brown sugar. Gives it more of a caramelly taste. We've got in here 250 grams. Now this is plain flour because it's more of a pound cake and more of a not dense but fudgy texture. See, a good old vanilla extract, which we'll add later. In here, which also helps with the plain flour, is 150 ml of milk. Our nuts, so 80 grams of ground almonds, and you can use any ground nuts really, it's up to you, but I just like the taste of almonds, to which it also goes well with our chocolate. This is Swiss chocolate because for obvious reasons. 52% cocoa, dark chocolate with a hint of mint, and the mint is just going to work very well with the figs and of course the almonds. Once we're getting going, we're going to add a pinch of salt and 1 tablespoon of baking powder, which again helps with the plain flour to rise. So like any other traditional cake recipe, I'm going to get my bowl, and the first stage is to cream the butter and the sugar together. Oh, we do need eggs. How could I have forgot? I'm going to get 3 eggs for the recipe. Here we are. The butter and sugar is all creamed together nicely. Look, I've got my eggs. So, one at a time. Again, like you would with a cake recipe. Fold in the eggs. There we go. So, pour a little bit in my hand first. Better to be safe than sorry. There we go. Just a little pinch of salt. This is, it just helps it bind. And actually will bring out the chocolate, maybe even the mint more. If you think sea salted dark chocolate, always a winner. I think salted caramel, it actually brings the sweetness out. I'm going to add a splash of vanilla because vanilla is just like a seasoning really for pastry. A lot of people have said for pastry chef it's like the salt to cooking. And then I'm just going to add my milk. There you go, so our mix is very loose. And I'm just going to like gradually go between the dry ingredients just so it's incorporated well. A bit of the flour, a bit of your almonds. And I'll add baking powder into the dish, well, the lid. That way I can disperse. And I've got my spoon free to carry on. Right, so everything's incorporated and you've got a nice cake batter now. I've preheated the oven to 180 degrees and now I'm just going to break the chocolate up and fold it into the mix. So yeah, little pieces. This bar, by the way, is 100 grams. I think I forgot to say that. 100 grams of chocolate, but feel free to add a little bit more if you're feeling naughty. These are the same molds actually that are used for the panna cottas. It's nice little shapes, nice sizes as well. Just spray each one with your seal spray, which as mentioned in previous episodes, you can get from Amazon. About £12–13, can't remember the exact amount. And just going to get a spoon to help me out. The spoon you're mixing. Lovely, and these are going to go in for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to keep an eye on them. We'll make a start with the fig jam. about Eurovision. Switzerland was actually where the first Eurovision Song Contest took place in 1956 in the town of Lugano. Yeah, I'll put it up again because I'm not sure if I've pronounced that well. This year it's in Basel, and it's all thanks to last year with Nemo and the Code. It's a good song. I'd probably say in the top 10, but it wasn't my favourite. I was quite disappointed actually with how the UK ended up last year because I really liked that song. And I've got the colours here to represent Switzerland and part of the UK because, to be honest, this year we're going to need all the luck in the world. I don't know if you've heard it. Good group of singers, a girl group, but the song's not too good. But yeah, fingers crossed. We need another sound rider. So my cakes are out the oven, and as you can see, because of the milk, they've risen quite a fair bit. So I'm going to leave them a little and then pop them onto my cooling rack and carry on with my jam. Well, I've gathered everything up for the fig jam, and yeah, as mentioned in the intro, figs are quite hard to get right now. But I looked online, I look everywhere, all these different supermarkets, and good old Morrison's had fresh figs. So if ever in doubt, go to Morrison's. Although guaranteed, now I've said that, they won't have any. But yeah, they're just a lovely flavour. Juicy, sweet, and go perfectly well with some nuts, chocolate and mint. For the jam, in here is the zest and juice of one orange. I've got a cinnamon stick to help with the flavours and infuse more into the jam. My sugar, so there's 300 grams of caster sugar, and the figs. Now there's 800 grams of fresh figs here, and I don't know if you've looked into one before, but they're quite beautiful. And yeah, the skin is fine, just cut into about eighths. You don't have to go too small because they're gonna not shrink, but when the juices and the flesh gets broken down, let's say. Right, so first stage for the jam, once the figs are chopped up, so I'm just going to add the orange, and 150 ml of water in there. Cinnamon stick and figs. Now this is on low to medium heat, and that's just the oven going. But I'm going to leave these in there for 5 to 7 minutes, give or take. You just want to see them starting to break down a bit. So as you can see, there's things are starting to break down. If you, for example, put one up against the side of your pan, you can see it break. Just going to mix them just so you're manipulating the cinnamon a little. And what you want to do is add your sugar. Just give that a good mix in. And turn the heat up a little. And just leave it be, let the sugar dissolve for about 10 minutes. And then take off the heat. We're going to leave it to rest a little and then remove the cinnamon stick. So it will start to boil away. And every so often, you'll get a fair bit of it, just remove the scum with a spoon. Right, this is where we get to the tricky bit, the hazelnuts. And I'm just showing you the layout to this. All will make sense as we go along. But you need your whole hazelnuts. I've got, there we are. I've got 16 there, so like 2 on each sponge. Match up with 16 cocktail sticks. And you need the chopping board and almost like a drip tray, which is why I've recorded the floor. But yeah, what we're doing is the chopping board is gonna hold the sticks, and this is the first time I've done it, so I'm learning just as much as you are. We've all got to start somewhere. But the caramelized sugar should drip down from the nuts, good old gravity, and create a nice caramelized stick, which will add height to our dish. Right, so I'll show you this stage and prep them up before we get to the sugar, because we want to keep an eye on it really. What we want to do is be quite delicate with it, but get your cocktail stick and just slightly pierce, go quite far in there and slowly, but not hard that you would break the nut. Right, so just getting the pan on a low heat, and in there is 200 grams of sugar to 45 mils of water. And to that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of liquid glucose. I'll get it a little bit nearer the time. I'm going to fill this up with cold water. Because once this is starting to brown in colour, pop straight in the cold water, and it should be the right consistency to dip your nuts and let the liquid drip down. Right, our sugar is pretty much there. Just have a look. And let it have a little more colour, and we're going to go for it. Everything crossed, guys. Right, let's see what happens. Put in the water. And careful of your fingers, but let's have a look. We're getting something. We are getting something, guys. Right, I'll neaten them up as they cool down, but honestly, it's quite technical, and I think that's not too bad of an attempt. It's quite fun to see where you get at with them anyway. Right, so I've just given them a little trim, and I'm going to carefully, see, that's a good one. Carefully take the stick out, just slightly turn the stick as you go. Right, so I've got my nice black plate here. Pop my cake there. Pop a nice bit of our jam. And just create a little dip at the top of your sponge. Pop the two nuts in. There we go. And I'm just going to do a little finishing touch with some mint leaves. Just add a little bit of colour around the plate there. Lovely. And there we have it. Our Tiroler cake with dark chocolate with some mint, some ground almonds in there, lovely caramelized hazelnuts, which you'll make with belated breath, and our slightly spiced orange and fig jam. So come on UK, do us proud. Spread the word, Beth the chef. Join us next week where, due to a little insight to seeing Kylie Minogue at London, we're going to infuse Australia with London and do a barbecued kangaroo steak pie with some nice cheesy creamy mash. Bon appetit!